Hey everybody, this is Dr. Eudene. I have a question for you. Does our metabolism start slowing as we get older? And of course, you're going to say, of course it does. Because honestly, most of us remember that in our 20s and early teens, we can eat whatever we want. And we didn't seem to gain any weight. But when we hit about 40, 50, and even into our 60s, just even the thought or even looking at food seems to actually cause us to slowly gain weight or just kind of engage that middle-age spread, if you will. But researchers wanted to ask that question. Does our metabolism slow as we get older? And if so, at what age does that start to happen? And I, for one, am certainly glad they tackled this question because this is something that we've been telling ourselves for a very long time, and it really seemed to make sense. So what these international researchers did is that they looked at about 6,600 people over 29 countries, ranging from the age of a newborn to 95 years of age, because they wanted to include everybody, because they really wanted to take a good look at that question. You see, before, in answering that question, the sample sizes were really small because it was kind of tedious work and it probably was just cost prohibitive. But they decided to join forces in order to answer this question. Now, they use a technique called double labeling of water. It doesn't really matter. It's been around since the 1980s, and it's really considered the gold standards for kind of measuring energy expenditure, daily energy expenditure. And so most of us would answer that question just as, you know what, yeah, our metabolism kind of peaks out in our teens and in our 20s, right? Because that seems to make sense, because that's when we feel our best, you know, we feel like we can do whatever we want and seemingly get away with it. But y'all, this is what the researchers found. They kind of teased this out. What the studies show was that pound for pound, the age group that burned by far the most calories were infants. They had the highest metabolic rates of everyone. During the first 12 months of life is really when we seem to just kind of burn the most energy. And that could be accountable. Maybe it's because of the brown fats. Maybe it's because we're growing a lot. It's probably a combination of things. So they found that babies burn calories about 50% faster for their body size than any adult, right? That's pretty significant. So after the initial stage of infancy, though, what do you think happened? What do you think that they found? Well, what they found was that a person's metabolism actually starts to slow by about 3% a year until they hit their 20s. So after the age of 1, our metabolism actually starts to slow at about 3% a year. Wowzers. But here's the kicker, y'all. Here is the kicker. Between the ages of 20 and 60, our metabolism seemed to just about stay the same. In other words, it didn't slow any faster. In other words, it seems like a 20-year-old was capable of burning the same amount of calories or daily metabolic expenditure as a 50-year-old. No, say it isn't. What? Okay, how do we explain that? Not sure I have an explanation, but basically what this would say is that we've been blaming the middle age spread on our metabolism literally our whole lives. And now it's saying, hey, y'all, your metabolism may actually not be responsible for that. So after the age of 60, the metabolism then started to decline again, but only about at 0.7% a year. Okay, so basically a person in their 90s needs about 26% fewer calories each day than someone in midlife. So basically after 60, yes, our metabolism started to slow down again. But between the ages of 20 and 60, it seems that our metabolisms are the same. This is based on this research, that international research that included a lot of scientists throughout the world, as mentioned. So, okay, what does that mean for us? Well, it might mean that we might need to keep our fitness levels up, because there was another study that came out that says that in midlife, the more fit that we are, the lower our risk is of developing chronic illnesses and disease. So we lived healthier lives if we remained fit. They mentioned nothing about middle age spread, y'all. They mentioned nothing about metabolism. So basically, part of the answer may be, let's keep our fitness levels up, right? And let's continue to move. This is Dr. Harry. Until next time, I hope this has been helpful.